From the John C. Hint Production Arts Studios in Peoria, Illinois, VideoMax Limited presents Midstate Magazine with your hosts, Kayla Neitz and Dawn McClure. News with Brent Dravalis and Danielle Kamsky and the Midstate reporting team. Sports with Spencer Shelton. Nikki Garabrandt takes us about town. Get Real with Ricky Hendon. And Jackie Myers is in the spotlight. Street Team with Pablo Iglesias. Taylor Hurnett with About Crew. And State of the Arts with Brooke James. And now, from America's friendliest city, Midstate Magazine. Take it away, kids.
Good evening and welcome to the sports edition of Midstate Magazine. I'm your host, Don McClure.
And I'm Kayla Neitz. Thank you for joining us.
All right, so I see you got on your Blackhawks jersey.
I sure do. I'm not a huge fan of sports, but I did want to support our Midstate team in dressing as a sports memorabilia or something like that.
I tried to do like some red.
I see what you're going for.
Right, I figured you would have on that jersey, so I figured I could do the same thing.
A couple things going in sports, though. The Cubs curse is finally over, right?
Right.
It was the curse of the Billy Goat. Something about how they wouldn't let the guy bring him, like something like 1908, they wouldn't let him bring him into the stadium, so he cursed the whole thing.
Right.
So that's finally over.
Yes.
Did you ever play sports as a kid?
I did play sports. I did track, football, and basketball. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did you stick with that?
I did track early on, but we will get back to that.
Yep.
And News Team has an update for us.
Of course, Spencer is dying to talk about sports on our sports episode, so let's check in with the News Team.
Good evening, and welcome to this week's sports edition of Midstate Magazine. I'm Brent Dravalis.
And I'm Danielle Kamsky. Now let's take a look at the news.
Sunday, April 6th marked the season 4 premiere of Games of Thrones. The premiere beat the show's previous record, averaging 6.6 million viewers. The episode marked HBO's biggest audience for any program since the 2007 finale of The Sopranos. Street crews have been working to scoop mud that poured off a hillside onto the one lane of Illinois Route 29 just north of War Memorial Drive last Thursday morning. The southbound driving lane was covered in more than 3 inches of standing water that began to seep into the northbound lanes around 6 p.m. The National Weather Service in Lincoln, Illinois reported regional amounts of 3.23 inches of rain northwest of Peoria, 3.38 inches northwest of Germantown Hills, and 4.31 inches in Peoria Heights after the Wednesday night rain and hailstorms.
U.S. Navy equipment has picked up signals consistent with the pings from aircraft black boxes. This discovery is the farthest lead in the past month for the missing Malaysia Airlines plane. Angus Houston, the head of a joint agency coordinating the search in the South Indian Ocean, called it very encouraging, but warned it may take days to confirm whether signals picked up by the ship Ocean Shield are indeed from the flight records on Flight 370.
As the weather gets warmer, it is time for that time of year again.
Construction season. Let's check in with our reporter for another update.
The water main break that broke here on the corner of University and Main is finally being fixed. With construction underway, Bradley University's Interim Vice President of Student Affairs, Nathan Thomas, believes this is going to be a much safer and pedestrian-friendly environment.
The people that it benefits the most is Bradley students because it's going to be a much more pedestrian-friendly area. It's going to be a lot easier for the students to get across Main Street, across University, into those businesses, and it's going to be a lot safer intersection.
Mike Rogers, director of Peoria's Public Works Department, believes now is the time to make big changes to this highly dangerous and busy intersection. Over 2,000 concepts have been viewed, but Rogers believes the plans in place will be beneficial in many ways to the surrounding area.
When we looked at those plans, this intersection was a part of it, and it talked about reducing the speeds in this area, trying to make it more pedestrian friendly, trying to create more economic opportunities in this area, making it green.
Safety is the main concern, but not the only thing that will be affected. This new construction will cause for the road to go down from 5 lanes to 3, and many drivers will have to find alternative routes to get around the area.
Traffic may be slower through the area, but we're trying to balance things. We know we have a heavy pedestrian movement here, and we want that as safe as possible, but for that safety, there is a cost. and that cost is the vehicle has to slow down within the area.
Construction is on track to be completed by the deadline day of May 10th. Weather permitting, the construction will be finished for Bradley move-out and May graduation. For Midstate Magazine, I'm Kyle Miller.
Thank you, Kyle. Now let's go to Spencer with sports.
Thank you, Danielle. After a rough sophomore season, Oklahoma State guard Marcus Smart will enter the NBA draft. Smart decided to stay with the team after his freshman season, foregoing the NBA for a possible run at the NCAA tournament. His season took a controversial turn when he pushed a Texas Tech fan in a game in February, earning a 3-game suspension. The point guard averaged 18 points and 6 rebounds a game for the team, which lost in the second round of the tournament. The Cleveland Browns have made a significant addition to their offense. Wide receiver Nate Burleson signed a 1-year deal with the team last week. The 32-year-old finished his 11th season in the NFL last year, catching 39 passes for 461 yards and a touchdown in 9 games for the Detroit Lions. A third-round pick back in 2003 out of Nevada, the receiver has bounced around between the Minnesota Vikings, Seattle Seahawks, and the Lions, amassing a career total of more than 5,600 yards and 39 touchdowns. A major part of the University of Missouri's football team has been suspended indefinitely. Wide receiver Dorial Green-Beckham was suspended last week for violating team policies, and the suspension includes practices and team activities. Back in January, Green-Beckham received a 1-game suspension after police found a pound of marijuana in a car in which he was a passenger. Reports tie the suspension to a Columbia police investigation that is ongoing. That's all for sports. Let's head back to Danielle.
Thanks, Spencer. Managing battery power can be the most frustrating part of owning a smartphone. Phone batteries typically last less than a day, and charging them back up can take a full hour. That might change in the coming years, however. An Israeli company has posted a video to YouTube with the prototype for technology that can charge a cell phone battery in just 30 seconds. StoreDot, the company behind the video, says the technology was born out of Alzheimer's research at Tel Aviv University. During that research, specific amino acids were isolated, and they managed to use those amino acids and peptides to create nanocrystals. These crystals have special properties that enable StoreDot to use them in various devices, such as a battery.
That ought to improve all of our Twitter games.
Yeah,
right?
Of course, of course. Well, that wraps up my favorite Midstate edition, sports. I'm Spencer Shelton.
And I'm Brent Travalis.
And I'm Del Haimski. Have a great night, and be sure to join us next week.
Thank you, news team.
All right, yeah, we're going to keep on going with our whole sports edition here.
Yep, we've got some celebrities coming up in the sports world and in the spotlight.
And
we have so much going on in Hollywood, we must check in within the spotlight.
Yes, and we will keep this going with the Sports Week. Jackie has some interesting celebrity updates.
I'm Jackie Myers, and this is in the spotlight. Michigan hockey team Kalamazoo Wings surprised a 5th grader at his 11th birthday, March 9th. This little boy didn't even want to have a party because he thinks he has no friends. His mom goes on to say that because of his disability, he lacks social skills, so kids at his school don't like him. His story touched the heart of the team, and they surprised the 5th grader at his birthday dinner and even gave him a 1-day contract to make him a full-fledged teammate. The little boy Colin got to sit with the team in a jersey and drop the ceremonial puck while being cheered on by all the fans. It will be a birthday to remember, I'm sure. The Patriots quarterback, Tom Brady, honored the Boston Fire Department last week. While at home in Black Bay, a house 4 blocks down from Brady caught fire. I had a first-hand view of the action and was just blown away by all the bravery and teamwork that they really displayed, said Brady. Unfortunately, 2 firefighters lost their lives in this fire. Tom Brady went on to pay his respects and say that we as athletes think we are heroes, but when you witness firsthand what I saw yesterday, you realize who the real heroes are in the world. Tom Brady and his family were not harmed by the 9-alarm blaze. Now on a lighter note. Did you know many Hollywood stars were also athletes? Here are some of the most surprising stars you might not know have known used to be athletes. Before George Clooney was a big shot in Hollywood, he played baseball in high school, and he later tried out for the Cincinnati Reds. Unfortunately, he striked out with that deal, but now is very successful with acting. Before Sheryl Crow was an award-winning singer, she was an all-star track athlete and medal winner in the 75-meter hurdle. Before he was an American Idol host and national radio broadcaster, Ryan Seacrest played football for his high school in the early 1990s. Lastly, Emma Watson, most well known for her character Hermione in Harry Potter, showed her athletic skill at college by being on the club field hockey team while attending Brown University. For In the Spotlight, I'm Jackie Myers.
All right, thanks, Jackie. Everybody knows Obama loves basketball,
Yep.
or if you didn't know that, he does. He's, loves to play basketball.
Uh-huh.
But my question for you is, what's your favorite food to eat while watching sports or whatever sport it is?
That is a great question. We've got Let's Eat coming up next. But
Yes.
one of my favorite things to eat is probably either a corn dog or just nachos, like something that's not going to take a ton of effort just
Right.
because I can just like throw it in my mouth or whatever it is. Not too messy because I'm sitting, there's no table for me to eat on.
I think I like either fries or like a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
Something simple. It's like almost like not or finger food. I know a lot of people love wings or something like that, right?
Yes.
But I think at a baseball game, I love peanuts.
Peanuts?
Yes.
Yes. I went to a baseball game, like my first baseball game ever, and I really enjoyed the peanuts there.
Right. And this week, Let's Eat has an upscale sports bar for us to attend.
Where you can catch all the games and get some delicious wings. Let's check in with Megan Gorecki and Let's Eat.
There are a lot of dining options for the students on Bradley's campus, but when it comes to food on game days, World of Wings is the place to be. Located on the corner of Main and Borland, World of Wings is just a short walk from campus. Although it may be a World of Wings, that's not their only specialty.
Our hottest menu item are our biscuits, sweet powder biscuits. So we deep fry them, take them out of the grease, put them in a basket, honey and powdered sugar on them. We won several trophies at the Taste of Peoria.
Their biscuits aren't the only award-winning item on the menu, holding just as many titles as their spectacular wings. When asked what makes his wings so unique, he responded with,
Because we make all our sauces in-house. We got 20 different flavors. All our flavors we make here. We even make our own seasoning.
I tried the most popular sauce on the menu, the ranch-covered wings. A surprising twist on the classic ranch, these wings had a surprise kick at the end, which is pleasing to the palate. To sweeten out the experience, I tried World of Wings' famous powdered biscuits. Smothered with honey and powdered sugar, this fluffy biscuit can cure anyone's sweet tooth. With the success of their business growing, World of Wings will open a new store this week in the Twin Tower Plaza. From Midstate Magazine, I'm Megan Gorecki.
Well, that looked delicious, and thank you again, Megan.
Yep.
Speaking of more, music artists, we got our music section
On the beat coming up.
Right, music. I know like Snoop Dogg helps his kids with football, but this week on the beat honors sports with some popular sports anthems.
Let's see who it is with Haley Fichter.
Hello, I'm Haley Fichter with On the Beat. Queen is a British rock band that formed in London in 1970. The band originally consisted of Freddie Mercury, Brian May, John Deacon, and Roger Taylor. Songs such as We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions are two huge hits that really get you fired up. We Are the Champions has become an anthem for sporting victories and was the official theme song for the 1994 FIFA World Cup. Their first songs motivate the crowd and create a lively atmosphere. Queen's music is legendary and will live on forever. Queen's music has been recognized worldwide for 44 years. The band has released a total of 18 #1 albums, 18 #1 singles, and 10 #1 DVDs. They are known as one of the world's best-selling music artists. In 2001, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Due to the death of lead singer Freddie Mercury, it is unfortunate to all Queen's fans because they could have potentially written more outstanding music. For On the Beat, I'm Haley Fichter.
All right, thanks, Haley. And so next we have coming up
Our Guardian Angel Basset Hound Rescue.
Right. And this week we have a special cute, cuddly, and lovable segment coming up.
You don't want to miss that. Let's check in with our special report from Matthew Blitzstein.
For over 18 years, Guardian Angel Basset Rescue has been providing wonderful homes for basset hounds. Fran Gray was the founder of Guardian Angel, and all she ever wanted for bassets was to have a loving home.
This is a terrible situation. People are abandoning basset hounds, and they've got no place to abandon them, so we need to put together a place where people who don't want their bassets anymore, or bassets that are being abused, or bassets that are simply unwanted, can be taken in, rescued, and found homes for. She ran into a couple named Larry and Emmy Little in Dwight, Illinois, and they were nuts about bassets too, and together they formed Guardian Angel Basset Rescue.
Guardian Angel Basset Rescue believes they should help the dogs that are currently here rather than breeding more.
We don't need to buy puppy mill dogs and encourage that sort of inhuman, soulless exploitation of wonderful dogs, and instead adopt out the ones that are already here. Make sure that those that are here get good homes.
No rescue can operate without money.
Gabber has spent so far this year $1.5 million on veterinary fees.
Due to the amount of money that is spent to keep the Basset Hounds healthy, Guardian Angel must be funded.
What Larry Little did, being a shrewd businessman himself, he said, if we're going to have a rescue, we're going to make sure that we have enough money to keep it, to make it ongoing long after we're gone. Guardian Angel Basset Rescue will still be here because we're going to fund it.
An exciting and fun event that is held by Guardian Angel yearly is known as the Basset Waddle.
The sign coming into Dwight says, Home of the Basset Waddle. Every year in September, there are 2,000 or 3,000 animals there, Basset Hounds and their owners, and they march down the main street of Dwight, Illinois, leading off the Harvest Home Parade for the city.
Basset Hounds are lovable, friendly, and intelligent dogs.
Basset Hounds are the hush puppies. If you've ever seen one sitting down with its long ears hanging down and its little paws sticking out like this, looking at you with those big brown eyes, you'll understand the appeal.
Nothing is more fulfilling than providing a Basset Hound with a safe home.
I just rescued a dog. His name is Barkley. There was this horrible-looking dog who was starved literally to death. If they hadn't brought this dog into the rescue within 2 days of the time that picture was taken, it would have been dead. Some mindless scum had taken that dog and for the first year and a half of its life had starved it. It was literally bones covered with skin. Its poor old head was hanging down, it had a big cut on its nose, and it looked like the saddest thing I've ever seen. And I said, Emmy, I'll take that one. And she said, I thought so. And then she sent me the next picture, which was him 3 months later, happy, filled out, back in good health. And I said, good, when can I have him? For the last 20 years I've had Bassets. My last Basset died 1.5 years ago. And my heart breaks every time a dog dies because dogs, for me, become part of my family. I don't have children at home. What I have is a Basset Hound at home and a wife at home.
All animals want a loving, caring, and affectionate family that can treat them right.
We're those nutty Americans who think that animals are precious, they're creatures of God, and we're supposed to take care of them.
For Midstate Magazine, I'm Matthew Blitzstein.
Thank you, Matt. Everyone can use an adorable, lovable Basset. I know I want one now.
Yes, and it's amazing how loving these dogs are after being through so much. All right, so the star of our show today is Barkley. We have Barkley here with us, and as you guys just seen, he is a rescue from Basset.
Guardian Angel Basset Rescue.
Yes, yes, and he's just under 2 years old. That's correct. Mm-hmm. And so, okay, how has it been with him in the family now?
Well, you saw how he was treated before,
right?
By the idiot who owned him before.
Right.
This dog should hate everybody. He should despise human beings for the way he was treated,
mm-hmm.
but he doesn't. He loves everybody, as you can see.
And as you guys can see, he looks so healthy now. You know,
you never would have known.
Right, never. Did it take a long time to get him back to health in 3 months? Okay.
3 months of care and love and attention.
Couple things I want to mention is the Guardian Angel Basset Rescue Auction, which is April 26th at 5 p.m. And there's also a Guardian Angel Basset Rescue Bash and Waddle, September 20th and the 21st in Dwight. You can get all the information at www.basketrescue.org if you want to participate in that, which is really awesome, I think.
Yeah, and I think dogs, people, you know, we look at them as animals, but they really do become our family.
Absolutely.
Yes, and this week on State of the Arts has an impressive art show to show off.
We get to see a behind-the-scenes show, look at how Make Music Brooke, take it away.
And welcome to State of the Arts. I'm your host, Brooke Janes. Today we have a very special guest in the studio who goes by the name Trill I Am. Trill I Am is a producer straight out of Peoria, Illinois, and has been working on electronic music for about 4 years now. He recently has established a large following on SoundCloud in the last year and has no plans of slowing down. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So you produce music. Can you tell me exactly what that is?
It's basically taking any series of digital instruments or actual instruments and recording and arranging different patterns in such a way as to create a song.
Okay. So my background with that is pitch perfect. Is that sort of what you do?
I actually am not too familiar with that. I mean, it sounds like a vocal thing.
Okay.
I do everything. I do mainly work in FL Studio. I make stuff with vocals, without vocals. I actually spent a while doing hip hop recording and stuff too. So I like doing that kind of stuff.
Sure. And do you make your music for special people or just as an outlet for yourself?
It depends. I'd been on about a 3 or 4 month hiatus very recently. I just kind of broke that today, in fact. But one of the things I uploaded most recently was actually a remix for one of my friends. She goes by the name of Heart Wreck, and she's based out of Salt Lake City.
Oh.
And she just released an EP, and so she had asked me to do a remix for it. And that's probably the most recent work of mine that I've put out publicly.
Sure. And I think you have worked with a previous one of the guests on the show.
Yes,
Who's that?
me and Bill Nye, we have a production slash DJ duo called Lambo, and we played in St. Louis not too long ago. It was a pretty successful show, and so I'm kind of splitting my time between my whole Trill I Am project and the Lambo project.
And what are you going to be doing for us today or showing?
I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what I go through when it comes to producing a track. I'll show you kind of like laying out a pattern, coming up with a melody, and then arranging it, finding my samples, and then give you a little taste of what it all comes out to sound like in the end.
It looks very complicated and interesting, so
yeah, it's
eager to watch.
It's one of those things where you kind of learn it piece by piece. This is a pattern right here, this little block. And these dots in here are notes. And if I double click on it, it takes me to my piano roll. And from there, I can single this pattern out. And it allows me to just play it, the pattern by itself. And so this is what I started out with this song, was this simple melody. If I go up here, I can assign that instrument to my mixer. And from here, I can go in and add my effects and everything to it. And so from there, after I have something that I like, I try to build on it. And so I have melodies here. This is kind of just like a pad. It fills the space. It doesn't let the song feel as empty. And then from there, I generally like to add my drums. And so this is one of the most tedious parts, is doing your cymbals and getting the rhythm and everything right the way you want it to sound, along with all your instruments and stuff. From that point, I kind of take a step back and add percussion to it. And so these are percussive tracks. It's just like little, just like,
sounds like a wood block.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
And that kind of just gives it gives the drums more life, more character. And then at that point, I go ahead and I compile it into like a song the way I think it should sound, and I add these are actual samples. So when you hear about people in mainstream music sampling something, it means they're taking an actual sound bite and using it in their song. And what this is just it's just like a wind sound, and it kind of gives the track movement, and it adds more environment and atmosphere to it. And then from there, it's mainly going in and trying to flesh out certain parts, seeing what works better here and there, and trying to go from having nothing and make something that you're happy with and proud of. And it's exactly like writing, if you're done, if you're you're never really done. So.
Okay, I hear it. Well, we are actually done. Thank you for coming in. That's all the time we have. That's all for this episode of State of the Arts. If you're interested in any of Trill I Am's music or want to book him for your next party, you can visit him at facebook.com/official Trill I Am, or check out his SoundCloud page at soundcloud.com/Trill I Am. That will do it for this episode of State of the Arts. I'm your host, Brooke Janes.
Thank you, Brooke. Well, I don't know about you, Don, but that looked very confusing to me.
It did seem a little confusing, but at the same time, it did seem very interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure you have to have, huge amounts of creativity to do something like that. You just to see it, not. I don't know if he makes it all on the computer, but I thought that was really cool.
It was cool, but also what was cool was this entire segment of our sports edition.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, from from Hollywood to we even talked about Obama.
We talked a little bit about what our favorite foods were in the stadiums.
Right. I think. I didn't get to ask you. I know you have on the Blackhawks jersey, but what is your actual favorite sport?
My favorite sport is definitely football, for sure. Because I think with baseball, I get a little too bored. It's a little too slow paced for me.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of people feel the opposite, but I know we had some jerseys on our cast for baseball, but football is definitely my favorite.
Okay, cool.
What about you?
My favorite is actually track and field. A lot of
track
people
and field.
are
Okay.
shocked with
what
that,
event specifically?
I was a 200 and 400 meter runner, but track and field is huge in my family.
That's a difficult race.
Yeah, so I mean, track and field was huge in my family. So I mean, that's what we all focused on. But the biggest thing that I think what was cool about this segment of having sports and everything involved is that sports, it teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to have a work ethic.
Commitment.
Yes, and I think that's huge for
Especially
students.
when you're physically tired. It's one thing to just keep going, when you're sitting down or just keep with something. But when you're physically tired, that makes it a lot more difficult.
And I think that's huge for any students growing up. It was a way to get I had a lot of energy as a kid, so it was a way for me to get that out as well. But also I thought what was cool was how we related sports to actors, big public figures that we see, and that they started somewhere too, and that you can do.
And they had to work their way up.
Right. You can do multiple things to succeed or
Another
learn.
thing I really loved about the show was our Basset Hound part.
Yes,
I thought that was
Barkley.
so cool.
Yes.
He was such a lovable dog, which Bob was saying how he was abused. And, a lot of times you do see with dogs how they just hate everybody and they want to bark at everyone and bite them. And he was just so lovable and nice.
And dogs are more than animals. They really are our friends, our family, and they bring happiness.
They have a lot of personality.
Right, they do. And it was very disheartening to see that picture of what he looked like before and how can anyone do something like that to a dog, to any, to a dog that has feelings and emotions just like us.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. So I'm definitely going to be looking into the website that we gave them earlier.
Right.
The Rescue Hound Rescue. The Guardian Angels, yes.
So. And I thought that was cool that Dr. Bob, definitely went and rescued a dog. I would love to do something like that.
I always think it's really interesting how many dogs are actually available to be rescued, because you'd think they'd always be being rescued, but there's always some left. So.
Right. Well, that's a wrap up tonight's Sports Edition. Thank you for watching. I'm Don McClure.
And I'm Kayla Neitz. Thank you for watching, and be sure to join us next week.